Welcome back to another episode of Kotlin Bootcamp for programmers. Along with the previous episode that I was talking about the generic class that we were used only the generic, not in or out anything else. So with this episode I'm going to show you the in and out in Kotlin programming language. It's a variant of Kotlin, in and out type of variant of Kotlin programming language. So actually it is a bit confusing, but I will try my best to deliver you in a simple words. What is out? Let's start with the out. I'm gonna type it here. First one with the out, or we can call it covariant type. If your generic class only use the generic type as output of its functions, then out is used. For example, if your interface produce something, or if you have a production company, so it produce something, so it output something, it produce something. For that purpose we use out. This is before the generic type we use out. So it means this production will only output something for us. So I call it production class interface as it's mainly to produce output of generic type. It is very simple to remember for you if you see that like this. For example, I wanna do this comment. You remember this, produce output. If it produce output, you should use out. So what is the in covariant type? When you want to use, or when you should use the in contravariance type. If your generic class only use the generic type as input of its functions, then in is used. For example, you have an interface consumer. It means this consumer, it's spend something, so it takes the generics from the other class, or it consumes something, so it needs to input, not the output. I hope you remember that. So we can call it consume class or interface, as it's mainly consuming the generic type. Hence it's very simple on code or to remember this. How we can remember this? Like this: consume class or interface, it takes input, consumer takes input, then we can use n contravariance type for that interface. Now what if a class or interface get the output, get input, and send output? For that purpose we use none of these. We use only one T, not above, not in, or not the second one. I means in the event one generic class uses the generic type as input and output to its function, then no in or out is used. It is invariant. It is this one, we can call it invariant. We can call this one invariant. We can call it this invariant. So it has input and it has output, it produces something, it has input, it consumes something. Now why use in and out in our functions or in our classes? Well, now you could easily remember when in and out is started or stated. What is their significance? Before we go there, let's define a burger class object. It is fast food, which is type of food, and it is very simple in hierarchy. We have a fast food, we have a food, we have a fast food, it is a subclass of food, and then we have the food. I wanna copy all of them. We have open class food and we have a fast food. Fast food extend the food because fast food is also a food, and we have the burger, and this burger is type of fast food. Now let's make 3 examples. So let's make the production for them, how we can produce them. Here I want to paste some classes. We have fast food. Fast food produce the food, and we have a function, we override function produce here. In here this production we have here, it means this production produce some things, because we have fast food and this fast food only produce something. What it produce? It produce only food, as we saw here. Production it output the something, or it produce something. And instead of this out or t, we used what? Food. It means our production will produce food here for this food store. And now for the fast food store, our fast food store will produce, or the production will be fast food. As we saw earlier in the last episode, I means we can send anything instead of that t. Now I can send fast food here. And the in-out burger, and also this is an in-out burger, it also produce burger here. We can send burger, we can send produce burger. Now how we can access, or how we can create object of this? Let's come back to creating an object in the main. Now here you have 3 productions. First one, I wanna do something like this, because the class was not important. All of this class name is all of the methods are produced. Now here the first production is fast food, and this fast food production, it produce the food, and we store the fast food, or we assign the food store to the production, and we mention the type as a production food. And the second one is fast food store. The fast food store production as a fast food. Here we also mention the food only, and the fast food is also the food, because this fast food extend the food. Now we can use the food, or we can use the fast food here. And in and out burger, it produce, or in and out burger, we can store the food here. It means I wanna do highlight this one. You should remember this is very important. For out generic, we could assign a class of subclass to a class of superclass. It means how? This is a class of subclass. It means we could assign a class of subclass to a class of superclass. This food is here, food is superclass. Now in and out burger, here this is a subclass. For that purpose, this in and out burger should take the burger. We send the burger here, but here in this production we created an object of that. We are sending food, because we could assign a class of subtype to the class of supertype, and as I told, we can assign the class of subtype. It is the subtype. In and out burger produce burger, as you saw here. I wanna do something like that. As you saw here, burger is a subtype of fast food. Now what if I do something like this? I copy this and I pasted food here, food here, food here. Now in and out burger is a burger. Here I can send a burger to this production, because in and out burger is in and out burger, produce only burger. But fast food store don't produce only burger. Fast food store doesn't produce only burger. It produce fast food, or it produce food, because food is also a subtype of fast food. I means for the out generic we could only assign a class of subtype to a class of supertype. Now this is a subtype of fast food. We cannot assign to the subtype. We can assign to the supertype. We should use the supertype of burger. Here we can use the food. Fast food is a food. Burger is a food, but it is not a food like this. And we should use only the supertype. Okay, remember, for out generic we could assign a class of subtype to a class of supertype, as I told here. Now let's create some consumer object for our consumer classes for our example. I have three consumer. One is everybody consume food, and modern people consume fast food, and American people consume burger. It has all of these function. All of these has a method called consume: eat food, eat fast food, and eat burger. Now I want to keep them as a just this one highlighted, and I want to create three object of this consumer. Here the consumer one is everybody. Now everybody, as I told here, everybody consume food. As I told, everybody consume food. Now I mention burger. Why I'm not mentioning here food? Because the for n generics we could assign a class of supertype to a class of subtype. It is vice versa, like this. I wanna paste here because you should remember this. For n generic type, why it is n? Because the consumer food, it takes the type of n generics. As I mentioned here, consumer is n generic. It takes it means this consumer classes only input the T data types, or only input anything of generic T, and this production output the generic T, and this consume input generic T. It takes generic T and consume generic T. Now here the consumer one is consumer, and it consume food, and as I mentioned here, and everybody consume food, and we can send a food here, or everybody consume fast food. Let's make it as a fast food. Everybody consume fast food. That will be also correct. And everybody consume burger. Everybody consume burger. Now as you see, I can assign the class of supertype to a class of subtype. As you see, this was a class of supertype. It is everybody is a class of supertype. This consumer is a class of supertype, but I can assign a class of subtype to the supertype, or I can assign a class of supertype to a class of subtype, like this. Here I could assign a class of subtype to a class of supertype. This is a subtype. I'm assigning this subtype to the supertype of food, but here it is vice versa. I can assign the class of supertype to the class of subtype. It is vice versa. In the out generic, I can assign the supertype. I can assign here. I can assign the subtype to the super type. In the generic, we could assign the super type to our subtype. Burger is subtype, and everybody class here, everybody consume food. Food is super type. We are assigning super type to the subtype, or even we can assign itself the super type also, but it means we have the possibilities, we have the abilities to assign a super type to our subtype. It is like this. And now if I type this one as a food, if I copy only food here and paste it here, paste it here, and paste it here, as you see, we can assign the super type to the subtype. We can also assign super type to itself, the super type, but here I'm assigning the subtype to the super type. You cannot assign the subtype to the super type. In the in and out, we can do that. Here, as you see, the fast food, we assigned the fast food was the type of sorry, the fast food was a type of subclass or subtype, and we could assign that to the food. Food is a super type. Here, modern type, it consume fast food. It is not a super type, but we cannot assign to the super type. Now, very simple. For the out generics, we could assign a class of subclass to the class of super type, and for the n generics, we could assign a class of super type to a class of subtype, like this. We can assign here burger. Here burger, I eat burger, modern people eat burger, and every American eat burger here. So guys, this is it for this video. If you like the video, and please thumbs up. If you don't like the video, please comment below the reason. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe to my channel and get amazing and new videos every day. And see you soon on the next video.